Greetings, YouTube. I've covered this topic before, but it seems to be something that I have to say again. Tax and spend is how it's supposed to work. You gather the taxes together, and then you redistribute them into the policies and programs that they need to go into. Now, the difference between a progressive taxation system and the regressive system that the Republicans endorse is that under a progressive system, billionaires pay taxes and the middle class and the poor pay less. Whereas under the regressive system that is endorsed and put into power every single time they get a chance by the Republicans is that billionaires pay no taxes and the middle class and the poor pay more. Again, I'm not making this up. Go look at the numbers. You know it's true. You've seen them. You're just going to pretend you haven't. But tax and spend is how it's supposed to work. Taxation is our payment into the system so that the system keeps functioning. Now, you can argue about how those tax dollars are being distributed. I got no problem if we can have that discussion. For example, I would cut the military budget by half, shut down a hell of a lot of military bases, shut down a hell of a lot of military programs. I would, for example, close all for-profit prisons and detention centers. I would make marijuana perfectly legal and take everyone out of prison who was put in there for a marijuana charge and expunge their records. I would make all drugs decriminalized, make it a medical issue, not a criminal issue, and expunge all those charges from their records as well. Shut down the DEA. Shut down all drug enforcement agencies in America, from the federal all the way down to the municipal. Okay, that would save so much money. All right, we could save so much money if, for example, say we stop subsidizing fossil fuels immediately and put half that money into renewables and the other half, say, into healthcare or into environmental issues. I personally would tax the fossil fuel folks on amount every year until they pay back all the subsidies they received for the last century, because they shouldn't have ever received a penny from us. And they took our money and then charged us. I would, for example, tax all the churches. And you want to not be taxed? Cool. Become a nonprofit organization and follow all federal laws. Don't want to follow federal laws? You'd rather be prejudiced and discriminatory towards gay people and trans people or against black people or what have you? Well then, you don't get to be a nonprofit. You have to pay taxes. I have a friend of mine that told me that that's a horrible idea. I said, why? If a private entity wants to hire a counselor, they can. And that's what a priest or an imam or a rabbi is. They're a counselor. They counsel people. They help people, at least in theory. So I see no difference. You want to hire some dude or dudette to be the head counselor in your organization? Cool. You pay for it, and you pay taxes on the property that you have and on all the business actions you involve yourself with. You want to be a nonprofit? Again, follow all the federal guidelines. Not willing to? You don't get the nonprofit status. Do you know how much money we would save there? We would be raking in the money. All these things would help us take the taxes in and then redistribute them to the policies and programs that we need to. But that's how it's supposed to work. Now, when it happens during Republican administration, it's A-okay. Give every possible break to the billionaires, screw the middle class and the poor. You think all the tax breaks the billionaires have received aren't going to be paid for by us? Because they are. I am going to pay more in my taxes because the billionaires don't. Don't think it's fair. We should do something about that. We should have a progressive taxation system. Oh yeah, and by the way, I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but when you have tax brackets, that means that only the money in the next highest bracket is taxed at the higher rate. So if at the bracket you're in, say you pay 30% for total for your taxes, saying it's $100,000. I'm just giving you a number. I don't know what the number is, but say it's $100,000. And then the next bracket's 40%. You only pay 40% on the $1 above 100,000. So if you make $100,001 in a year, only that $1 is taxed at 40%. The rest is all taxed at 30%. The Republicans will tell you that all the $100,001 is being taxed at 40% because they're lying assholes. So don't listen to the Republicans. They lie to you. There are two kinds of Republican voters. There are billionaires, and then there are saps. Look in your wallet to figure out which ones you are. But you keep doing it, and you keep voting for them. And being ignorant of how taxes work, and ignorant of the fact that that's how it's supposed to work. You take the taxes in, and then you redistribute them through the system, support the policies and things that we deserve, that we should get. Free healthcare, guaranteed housing, guaranteed education from K through college. These things are just what we should have. Water is a human right. Housing is a human right. Food is a human right. And we should be making sure that everybody has these things. And we have the money. We just mysteriously allow billionaires to control it. They didn't earn it. Nothing gets done without labor. You can have the biggest pile of money in the goddamn world. You're not going to get a single widget built unless you've hired someone to build it. Labor makes wealth. Billionaires are parasites. We created the wealth. We should benefit from the wealth. I don't mind paying higher taxes if it means that everybody in my nation will never go hungry or homeless or be without health care or an education. I got no problem with that. I want everyone to know from cradle to grave they are never going to have to suffer for those things. Think of the comfort you'd have knowing you never would have to. Think of the security you'd feel knowing you'd never have to worry about that. Compared to what we have right now, be a goddamn paradise. So don't listen to the Republicans. Don't listen to their lies. Don't think that they don't take money away from you as fast as they can to benefit billionaires, because they do. And don't think that redistributing the wealth to help us is a foreign concept. Remember, the highest tax bracket on the richest people in America was 94% during the Nixon years. And Reagan only got his goal of lowering the taxes in, was it the 7th year of his term? So yeah, it was higher than it is now during the bulk of his presidency. Republicans are lying sacks of shit. Don't listen to them. Go look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie.